My name is Sandrine Nduwimana. I come from Burundi. I work at China-Africa Business Council and I head our International Liaison Department. I moved to China straight from high school, so I was 18 years old when I moved here.
That was how many years ago?
About 14 and a half years ago now.
What was the city like back then?
So I felt like Beijing was just big and crowded, but also impressive, like it was still quite developed. There's been a lot of changes.
What kind of changes have you seen since you arrived?
The first thing I usually think of is subway, because when I moved to China in 2007, there were only 3 lines. 14 years later, I don't know how many subway lines. It's just the second thing I would say is just how people consume. Now things have shifted from in-person, shopping in person, to online. And then I would say, yeah, it's just gotten cleaner and cleaner. Of course, the Olympics, 2008, I feel like was the beginning of, like, you know, just making sure the city is clean.
Where were you when Beijing hosted the 2008 Summer Olympics?
In Beijing, yeah, I was in Beijing.
So you experienced the whole thing?
Experienced just everything that led up to the Olympics. I did go home for a month, but yeah, I was here with like everything, how the city was getting prepared for it. A lot of my friends were volunteers during the Olympics, and when things were being built, like the bird's nest was when it was being built, I was here. I saw a Beijing pre-Olympics and post-Olympics are almost like a huge shift in the way the city looked. I think Beijing definitely became a lot more international than it was before. The hype and the joy and the pride, that's also when they opened the airport, the Terminal 3. Now you have Daxing. I feel like Beijing really shifted from like one level to another in like a short period of time.
So how do you like the idea of China hosting another Olympic Games?
I'm very happy that not just for the Games itself, but it's also a good opportunity for Beijing to continue to, you know, to improve. And this time I will not leave China, I will not go home. I will be here to see as much as I can in person, yeah. I think China always stands out to me at the level of organization, like the level of how organized and how coordinated and how every minute, you know, is accounted for. When you assign China to host Olympics, like, you can be assured that things are going to go well. So even with the pandemic, we know that China is going to take it seriously, and there's not going to be anything that's not prepared for.
What main changes have you seen in the past decade when it comes to relations between African nations and China?
People-to-people relations have deepened, like a lot of African students coming to China. And then at the same time, there's been a lot more Chinese people moving to African countries. Companies are not just trading with African countries, they're like going to Africa and establishing themselves, establishing their businesses. If you look around our offices, you can see, just like these are things perhaps in the past you couldn't get in China, but you can, you know, buy African art, African products. Currently drinking Rundan coffee at the moment, which you can buy on Tianmao, on Taobao, yeah, and I want to be able to access more African products in China.
What is the significance of hosting the Winter Olympics to China and to the rest of the world?
We still need to continue what we've always done for decades, and athletes need to continue to do what they've been trained for in their entire lives. We want our lives to continue to go on as much as possible in the Olympics, and something that the whole world looks to often. Not a lot of countries will be able to host Olympics in a period of a pandemic. So the significance lies in, you know, showing the capacity and capability of the country. It's something that only strong countries can actually achieve.